So, what is Flutter? Flutter is actually a combination of two main parts. For one, it's a UI framework, which is a fancy way of saying that Flutter is a collection of code packages and things you can use in your code to write cross-platform apps, cross-platform user interfaces. Because that's one of the main selling points of Flutter. With Flutter, you can have a single code base and yet generate apps for a broad variety of target platforms. And that's a huge advantage because without a solution like Flutter, you would have to learn different programming languages for different platforms, because historically there wasn't a single shared language that could have been used to target all these platforms. So that's one of the main selling points of Flutter, and in this course you will of course learn how to write that Flutter code so that you can target these different platforms. But the code alone and this UI framework, which gives you the things you use in your code to build these good-looking user interfaces, isn't enough. Instead, Flutter also gives you a collection of tools that you use in combination with your code to then actually convert your code to code that is able to run on these different target platforms. Because that code that you write in this single code base does not out of the box work on these different platforms. Instead, it must be translated to machine code that does work on these different platforms. So, for example, some specific machine code that does work on Android or that does work on iOS. And that translation is also done by Flutter. To be precise, it's done by these Flutter tools that are part of the overall Flutter solution, if you want to call it like this. So that you have the things you use in your code, the packages you use in your code to build good-looking user interfaces, and the tools that you need to then turn that single code base into different code packages for these different target platforms. Because Flutter is all about building those multi-platform apps based on that one single code base and programming language, so that you don't have to learn multiple programming languages in order to build apps for multiple platforms. With Flutter, it's just one programming language that you have to learn and use.